Check my mic. Okay, I hope you can hear me well. I'm not having my headphones here, I'm not behind my computer, but I want to talk about shame with you guys because it is a subject and a topic that we often try to avoid, right? Now, I get that because shame isn't really a popular topic. We don't want to talk about it, we want to steer away from it. That is why we call it shame. But right now, this week, we are having our Speaking Miracles course here in my home. And one of the things that we do there is we talk about shame a lot. Why? Because most speakers and most entrepreneurs are trying to avoid the places that they're ashamed of. And that makes sense. If we talk about speaking, most speakers try to get themselves into a state where they can't be triggered, where things will stay outside of their zone. They try to either make a kind of a Teflon layer around them so that they can't be triggered, or they try to keep within their trigger zone, or they try to put their triggers on the parking space, saying, you know what, as long as that can't trigger me, then I'm fine. And we try to keep control, right? I teach a very different kind of speaking. I teach the speaking where it doesn't matter if you get triggered because you're okay with all your triggers. But that means, because I think that's freedom, right? I think freedom isn't to toughen up and make certain that our concrete wall is even thicker and more robust. I think freedom is to actually be okay with anything that happens, no matter how much it could trigger you. That means that we need to heal all of our trauma, because I don't like controlling the outside world or controlling what comes in or controlling whatever, right? I am not interested in being able to meditate on a mountain in Nepal. I am interested in being able to live in this world where I am today with anything around me going on. I'm not saying that these things can't trigger me. They can and they will. That's called life. I don't think enlightenment is the state where I'm okay, I can breathe in all of it. I don't call that enlightenment, a state of constant relaxation so that we're free from triggers. I believe enlightenment is a state where, and freedom for that matter, is a state where all these triggers are okay because they're part of life and we can welcome all of them and we don't lose the connection with who we are because of them. Now that's a very different kind of being an entrepreneur in this world, and I think, or being a human being in this world for that matter. And I believe that that is what we need. We need you to be there, and we need to be there, and we want you to be speaking from that place, be it on a live or on a stage or in person, one-on-one. It doesn't even matter, right? But that means that we have to talk about shame. And shame has different layers because shame is actually physically a toxic substance. That means that our body creates a certain toxicity when we feel ashamed, and the toxicity is actually what we're trying to avoid. So when we're avoiding shame, that's not childish. That is actually wise because we don't want to poison our body. And shame is a poison. So then when shame gets stuck inside our body, then when we want to release it, we're actually physically releasing a toxin. Now, it's very wise to avoid that on all levels, right? So in order to deal with shame, we need to release this little bit by little bit, knowing that we're actually in that way telling our body that it is okay to release it slowly. But in order to speak from a place where we can't get triggered anymore because we're okay with all of our triggers, and we will get triggered, but we're just not afraid of that, that means that we have to become okay with the darkest places inside of ourselves, because any audience and anything that can happen, and anything in the world for that matter, right? Life in general will shake us, will rattle us. We cannot become unshakable. We will be shaken. It's just a matter of Will you lose your connection to yourself because you're shaken? So then last night we had a beautiful first day, and it ended in a fireside chat about shame, where we shared our darkest stories, the stories that we absolutely don't want anybody to know about us. Because if we can find a place where we can share these stories and become okay with them, then that is powerful. And what I absolutely loved to see is that every single story that was shared last night was actually not just held in a space, it actually made the entire group feel their power to a level that you don't have a clue of. Hearing other people open up about things that they're ashamed of is so powerful. It is absolutely no thing more powerful than that. And we made this setting last night under the stars, under the Milky Way. It's almost new moon where we live. It's one of the darkest places in my country. So there was this beautiful sky, a starlit sky, a fire, sheep around us in the orchard, talking about shame, talking about life, talking about how to show up. And a lot of tears were shed. And a lot of healing was done. If we don't find the courage inside ourselves to not just get over shame, because that doesn't work, but to actually allow the shame so that it can leave our body, so that the triggers are okay because they're not toxic for us anymore, then that is what's healing in this world. I'm wondering what you guys are ashamed of, and I'm not asking you to speak about that on Facebook because I'm not so certain that these stories are a right fit for this platform. But do you have a place where you can talk about the things that you don't like to talk about? Do you have a place where you can find healing for your shame? If not, reach out to me because it is crucial for us to do that. The world needs people that are able and capable of actually releasing shame. And that means, to a very slight degree, poisoning or reallow the poison to run free in your system so that it can leave. That is what we need you to do. If you need any help with that, reach out. October 5th, our Business Academy starts. But if you just want to share your story with me, reach out to me. I love reading these stories. And if at any way I can help you heal your shame, I will. It is your time. We need you this winter. We need you this winter. Winter-proofing yourself is about allowing all these stories to come out so that we can find our power no matter what crisis the winter will bring. I'm counting on you, and I hope you'll find the courage to share things with me. All my love, and see you tomorrow.